Thanks for joining me again. I think it's probably time to clear the air and discuss where I stand with my mom and why. Once again, it's something that I didn't realize until I was on the other side of it. My father passed away last February, a year and a half ago. And from that point on, I handled pretty much everything. Our family business that I ran with my dad and all of their personal dealings, his and my mother's. I was very close to my father. For those of you who don't know, who maybe haven't seen other videos, I had a very close relationship with my father, and we worked very closely running a business together for 12 years. And for obvious reasons, I'm not going to be specific about the type of business and where the business was, things of that nature. My father was a self-made man throughout the years. Even before I was born, worked a full-time job and always had a business of some kind on the side that he was building. He was very ambitious, very driven. So it's so complicated. It goes so deep and it goes so far back. I'll try to summarize this as much as I can. Over those years, he had several different types of businesses and continued working to support us and so on. At one point, each of my siblings had a business. There were 3 of us. I'm the youngest. Again, not going into detail, they were failed businesses. This last business venture that my dad and I were involved in came about, and he was still involved in another business that one of my siblings was at the time running. My father was in the process of selling it, and so he needed someone to sort of step in and help out getting this new business off the ground and overseeing it. I just sort of fell into it. It wasn't by design. It wasn't because I asked for it or wanted to. I was a stay-at-home mom. I was raising my kids. I was a cheerleading coach. I was doing all the things that moms do. Inadvertently just got involved with this business and helped him get it stabilized and get it off the ground. I didn't know anything about the business that we had gotten into. I was literally thrown in the deep end, and that was okay because I had a great deal of love and respect for my father, and I wanted to see it succeed. So I was happy to help him. We did very well. We worked very well together. The business was very, very successful over the years. We had a great staff. They are and were like family. And I believe that there was a lot of jealousy, resentment with my siblings, and looking back now with my mother, because my father and I did work well together and we were successful and we understood each other. We had a bond that he didn't have with any of them, I believe. Over time, I had a very good grasp on this business, and he became very ill. And so for a while there, towards the end, it all fell on me, all the decision making, everything. I was handling everything. And then my father passed, and I continued to do so. I continued to take on the challenges that him and I had discussed, make changes that we had discussed, some pretty big renovations, financial changes, things of that nature, and I was handling it all on my own. He passed away in February. I left my home and my marriage August that same year and was still handling the business, still taking care of everything, and everything was going well. I inadvertently did become my mom's punching bag after my dad passed away, and I wrote it off to her being widowed and being upset and depressed because she lost my father. So I was just putting up with it day in, day out, just listening to her and just dealing with it. Part of the things that I was dealing with, the divorce, running the business, so on and so forth. Late last year, I was approached about selling the business, and never in my wildest dreams did I think I would. We had a lot of plans. I had already started those plans for the business, and we were approached by a group of investors to sell. They basically sort of said, name your price. So I named something that I thought was outrageous. I thought, oh, we'll never get this, so I don't even have to worry with this, or I don't even have to worry that I will have to make this decision, because there's no way this will fly. And they said yes. And so there was the process of trying to discuss it with my mother, because she was not involved in the business in any way, shape, or form, even though she always had opinions when we were discussing it, and consequently always wanted to tell us that we didn't know what we were doing. I, of course, had to discuss it with her because it was all on her and up to her on paper. So I convinced her that it absolutely is a good idea, that it's exactly what my father would do. It's an opportunity that will not present itself again. And it's exactly what he would want to do as far as building on the business that we already have and growing and making it something really big for everybody in our family. That deal forged ahead. I handled it from top to bottom with John's support, of course. He was always in my corner and always supporting me and helping me. He actually has a degree in business, even though he is a commercial pilot. So we were handling all of this very well, and in the meantime, trying to put together a 1031 exchange. For those of you who may not be familiar with that, is a vehicle to reinvest when you sell a business. Do not pay capital gains. The profit that you make goes into your next business. And so I was handling that as well. Found a very good, profitable business to reinvest in, something that was absolutely going to secure the financial future, not only for my mother and for myself, but my siblings and all of her grandchildren. It was very, very solid. It was an excellent investment, and there was no doubt it was going to secure the future of the entire family, and I know it's what my dad would have done. So we were going forward with this deal. I come to find out that the company that was buying our business happened to be the 7th largest company of that kind in the world, and I negotiated with them from start to finish. They tried to get me to come down on our asking price during the final week of the sale. I said absolutely not. The very last day, they wanted to try to get me to drop it even $60,000, which was nothing in the grand scheme of things, and I stuck to my guns because I know it's what my dad would have done. I was so glad that I did when I found out who they were and how large this company was. I was a little overwhelmed. I couldn't believe who I had been dealing with and how I'd handled it, and I thought that would have made Dad proud. And so everything was just sort of falling into place. Everything was going the way I thought that it should, even though it was a very long, drawn-out process. I had to do some traveling to go see other businesses and deal with other people and set up this next deal that, as I said, was going to be quite lucrative, would benefit our entire family all the way down to the next generation. And my siblings got a hold of her ear, and she killed the deal right at the very last minute. She killed the entire deal. That we're not moving forward. I'll go ahead and I'll pay taxes. It's over with. It's done. She managed to do that while she was staying with one of my siblings, and she managed to convey this to me in a string of very nasty, awful texts saying that I hadn't worked. I need to go get a job. She killed the whole thing. And it was a power play. It was her ego. It was resentment. It was resentment from my siblings. I was devastated. I think I saw my therapist every day for a week following that incident. I had all of the realtors calling me, wanting to know what was going on, wanting to know why this wasn't happening. They said, "You'll never see a deal like this again." I said, "I'm absolutely aware of that, and I have no say. I can't go forward. It's on her. This is for her to proceed and finish." And she refused. And everybody who knew was just speechless. So, because of their egos and their resentment and all the bad feelings that they have, because my father did in fact leave me in charge, the business is gone. The future of the business is gone. I'm in the middle of divorce. I have no job. I have no income. It wasn't until that happened that I realized she's a narcissist. Just like I didn't realize that I was married to a narcissist until I left him. And I had time to deal with him. Like I said before, a woman leaves mentally before she leaves physically. This hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm still dealing with this one. I don't know where I'm at with it. I think being with the narcissist somehow on some level prepared me for this, but you can never be prepared for that kind of betrayal. I don't know how one deals with that because I just hadn't recognized it all this time. I just thought she was difficult to deal with. I thought, she was always very outspoken, I guess is the word I'll use. My dad thought that the sun rose and set on her. I tried to see her in the light that he did, and I tried to be there for her when he passed away, and I tried to do all the things that I thought were right, and I tried to do what I thought would take care of all of us and benefit our entire family. And she ruined it. She ruined it. And she just completely betrayed me by doing what she did and then turning around. And now she's in contact with the narcissist. And I just don't understand any of it. Because that's not what moms are supposed to do. As you can see, I haven't really sorted through this one yet. I'm not there yet. I'm just not there yet. I would have done anything for my dad. I worked, I traveled, I carried the entire load as long as I could for him, because he deserved that. He worked harder than anybody I know, and I didn't want to let him down. I was doing everything that I thought I should. I was doing everything that I thought was right. I actually thought he was guiding me in the direction of this next venture, and she just killed the whole thing out of spite. And I still don't understand it. I just don't understand it. But I'm moving forward. I can't stay paralyzed by her decisions and her insecurities and her resentment. There's so much to this. There's so much to this situation and to this relationship and to what got us here and to what got me here. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I think it's important to share this because when I first went to my therapist, she knew that I had a very close relationship with my father and that I was still grieving him, that I had just lost him earlier in the year and I had just left the narcissist. I left him, I left my home, everything. I left it all behind. And so when we sat down, she started asking me about my mother and asking questions about my mother and how my mother treated me as a child, and I couldn't understand where she was going with all that. We steered away from that. We went on to all these other things, and then when all of this happened, I realized why she started there. Because many times when you are in a relationship with a narcissist, it's because you had a narcissistic parent. You've already dealt with it. It's what you know. You're okay with it because you were already doing it at some point. And I didn't even realize it. I didn't realize it. I was so busy going through life. I was so busy raising my kids, being a mom, trying to be a good wife, trying to do all the things that I thought I was supposed to be doing, giving of myself, putting myself out there day after day. I was just missing it all. I was missing all these things. I was missing all these details. And I completely missed my mother's narcissism. I just completely missed it. And once all that happened, it was crystal clear. It was very clear. And that's why I feel it's critical that I share this, so that people understand it all starts somewhere. It stems from something. So I have that to deal with too. Thanks for watching.